This oddity is the replacement for the well-respected Subaru Legacy Tourer, but since that name is still used in other countries, the Japanese firm had to come up with a new moniker. That's the reason you're reading the Subaru Levorg Sport Tourer review. Just one engine and gearbox on offer, but the weirdness doesn't stop there. This is one difficult car to pigeonhole. Its rivals, broadly speaking, are mid-sized estates such as the Volvo V60, Ford's Focus Estate and the Seat Leon Street. None of those are available with a blend of all-wheel drive, 1.6 petrol engine and CVT automatic gearbox, though. And with the Levorg, that's the only combo on offer. So who on earth is this car for? The firm expects around 500 customers per year will buy one, and they'll predominantly pay cash outright. Leasing isn't a factor here because Subaru struggles to make the finances work, so monthly payments will be far higher than cars of rival size and performance. It's a car for those with cash but no aspirations to stand out, and it's definitely one you can rely upon. Capable, practical and safe under the skin is a chassis shared with the high-performance Subaru WRXThe, albeit with a smaller, lesser powered, and thus far more efficient, petrol engine under the distinctive vented bonnet. That means it's capable in terms of handling, but it's also a practical car with many clever features. Its boot is huge with a low loading height and flat floor. There are lots of safety systems installed and a new infotainment system borrowed from the bigger Outback takes pride of place in the cabin. Not great on fuel or tax, but there are drawbacks too, especially in terms of running costs. With a 1.6-litre petrol engine pulling such a large car, fuel economy is never going to be fantastic in a world of torquey diesels. It's a similar story with tax, because the Levorg emits a fair amount of CO2 as well. Its cabin, while improved, is also roundly outstyled by competitors, even if it does feel like it'll survive a nuclear war. We loved the SDI-derived front seats, though. The verdict: so the Subaru Levorg Sport Tourer is a no-nonsense estate with a set of very specific talents. It handles well, feels nicely made, and is a pleasant place in which to spend time. If you're looking for the ultimate status symbol for your money, or the latest in slush-molded interior technology, this won't be for you. The CVT gearbox might also not be your cup of tea. But the Subaru Levorg's qualities are so well defined, you'll already know it's the car for you, even before it turns a wheel. Subaru fans, cue here. For a more in-depth look at this estate's attributes, read on for our comprehensive evaluation. Limited options, automatic only, overtaking requires planning. There's only one engine and gearbox combination on offer here. It's a 1.6-litre turbocharged petrol engine coupled to an automatic continuously variable transmission, CVT, gearbox which Subaru calls Lineartronic. The engine performs well, with a broad spread of torque considering its relatively diminutive dimensions. It develops 170 horsepower, but its 250 Nm of torque is on offer between 1,800 and 4,800 revolutions per minute, so it's flexible enough on the road. The Levorg is quick to respond when setting off from stationary, but performing overtaking maneuvers is where it can struggle to generate momentum. A degree of planning ahead may be required. What's the Levorg's gearbox like? To get the best from it, you'll have to use the paddles behind the steering wheel to change gear, though, because the nature of a CVT gearbox means it takes a while to get going if left to its own devices. This version has 6 steps built into it, so the power delivery roughly mirrors that of a normal automatic gearbox when changing gears manually, but there's still a disconnect between what your foot does and when the car responds. Is it a sheep in wolf's clothing? If you're in the mood to drive a little more enthusiastically, there's a pair of buttons on the steering wheel marked S and I. Pushing the S button engages a sport mode, which sharpens the throttle response and quickens the gearbox's response times a little. We found it better to drive like this, but you'll pay quite a penalty in fuel costs. It's an easy car to drive because of the lack of complexity here. Thanks to the fact that it uses petrol instead of diesel, it's not even all that noisy. It's just a shame Subaru Levorg Sport Tourer performance doesn't seem to match the impression given by that big vent in the bonnet. Stable and nimble to drive, all-wheel drive should aid traction light steering. This is often where a Subaru excels, and there's no exception with the Levorg. It's one of the most sure-footed estate cars out there thanks to the firm's WRXThe, which has lent many chassis parts including an all-wheel drive system. You've got an amazing amount of grip at your disposal, far more than is really needed during everyday driving. Sports car grip, estate car style. Even when approaching the limits of traction in slippery situations, it's predictable and balanced thanks to the torque vectoring system, which can gently brake the inside wheels when cornering to prevent front or rear ends pushing wide. It's an agile car too. The engine's layout features horizontally opposed cylinders, a Subaru trait, which means it can be mounted lower in the car than normal, so the center of gravity is closer to the ground and the car changes direction quicker than more conventional estates. We found the steering weighting to be well judged too, with an unusual amount of feedback through the flat-bottomed steering wheel for this type of car. The brakes were better than we expected, with a progressive pedal feel and sharp, but not aggressive, response. There's an electric parking brake and hill start assist on all Levorgs, the latter preventing the car from rolling backwards when setting off on a hill. A brake towing weight of 1,500 kilograms is high for a car with a 1.6-liter engine, and makes the Levorg perfect for caravanners who don't want to run to a full-sized SUV. Improved, but still a way to go. This is where things start to go awry. The Levorg is better than many recent Subarus in the cabin, and benefits from much of the styling and tech that the latest Outback featured, but it's still a way behind the curve. Piano black trim, contrasting blue stitching and silver fake carbon fiber don't make for a particularly harmonious design. It does feel very well built in there, however, and while the rubber on the top of the main dash area might not look as plush as, for instance, a German equivalent, it's clearly very hard-wearing. You'll feel at home quickly. It's easy to find a good driving position though, because the driver's seat is electrically adjustable through 8 directions. You've got good visibility while driving and the standard rear view camera helps with parking. However, it would be easier still if you installed the optional parking sensors, which are available at extra cost. The Starlink infotainment system operated via the center touch screen isn't the easiest to use, with many of the buttons being too small to read and select at a glance, proving to be a distraction while driving. Supportive seats, spacious cabin with a suspension system developed with compliance in mind. Subaru Levorg Sport Tourer comfort isn't as bad as you may expect. General ride quality is good, but road bumps are transmitted into the cabin more often than we'd like, lacking that final degree of isolation from thumps. The engine is quiet, but there is too much tire noise as you approach motorway speeds. There's lots of space in the cabin, but our favorite aspect are the front seats. They're a new design based heavily on those found in the high-performance WRXThe, so they're incredibly supportive. They're covered in leather and feature heating as standard too. One trim level, not many optional extras. Standard Subaru Levorg Sport Tourer equipment on the outside of the car. You've got automatic headlights and wipers, front fog lights, power folding door mirrors, 18-inch alloy wheels, LED headlamps, tinted rear glass, 2 exhaust tailpipes in the cabin, leather seats, knob and steering wheel, heated front seats, with driver's 8-way electric adjustment, 7.0-inch touchscreen with steering wheel mounted controls, Bluetooth connectivity, 6 speakers and rear view camera, dual zone climate control, keyless ignition and entry, a tire repair kit and stainless steel pedals. Optional Subaru Levorg Sport Tourer accessories available as optional extras are features increasing practicality, such as pet carriers, canoe and ski attachments, cargo nets, bike carriers, a rubber boot liner, and parking sensors for both ends of the car. 5 stars from Euro NCAP eyesight safety system fitted from 2017. Since there's a massive array of kit installed and the firm prides itself on build quality, it's fair to say we think Subaru Levorg Sport Tourer safety is exemplary. Standard on all Levorgs is a number of airbags, front, side, curtain and knee, along with automatic high beam headlights and rear vehicle detect. There are ISOFIX child seat mounting points and a brake assist system which applies full braking power if the car senses you need it. Subaru Rear Vehicle Detection, SRVD, is included too, which mixes blind spot detection with cross traffic alert, which warns you when reversing of a car about to cross behind you. From 2017, the eyesight safety system, first seen in the Outback, was fitted on all models. With 2 forward-facing cameras mounted on the front windscreen, oncoming obstacles and potential hazards are constantly monitored for, with the system reacting accordingly with the combined use of autonomous emergency braking, adaptive cruise control and lane keep assist. The system is designed to avoid accidents at speeds up to 28 miles per hour and reduce the severity of accidents that occur at higher speeds. Ample space front and rear, several cubbies and storage spaces, not many places large enough for handheld devices as with the slightly bigger Outback. Subaru Levorg Sport Tourer practicality is excellent. The boot measures 522 liters and its low lip couples with a flat floor to make loading heavier items as simple as possible. There's a new 40-liter space concealed under the boot floor too, which serves to keep smaller items out of sight and not rattling around the luggage area. It also houses the tire repair kit. Seat folding options: you can fold the rear seats down in a 60 hours 40 minutes configuration via mechanical levers in the boot, and this leaves you with a flat load area measuring 1,446 liters all told. Cargo hooks and a retractable tongue cover are installed as well. You've got 4 cup holders in the cabin, 2 between the front seats and another 2 in the rear armrest, along with 6 USB jacks and 2 12-volt power sockets. The door pockets each have bottle pockets, and there's a box in the central console for additional storage.